Hey YouTube, looks like I solved the problem of the carbs flooding out and everything. Um, Hopefully you guys can see this, but you know they're dry as a bone on this side. And what was killing my bottom end power, um, and you know what was really nerve-wracking was it was flooding out at stoplights. You know, after a high RPM, then stop, then long idle at that left turn light. And that's when it was stalling out on me, and I was just like being driven insane by that. That was just nerve-wracking. So, I'm gonna throw that airbox back on, and one thing I did that was dumb is I reinstalled the carbs before I played with the air fuel mixture, you know, down the side, the easy thing, not messing with the floats. So I'll monkey with those and see if I can find a happy place, but it appears that they're not flooding anymore. I'll tell you the first thing I'm noticing is I'm not noticing that dieseling. I'm not noticing that struggle with the lower end. The torque is back, and the torque is where it should be, is what I should say. It was never back till I started messing with it here. So, you know, what's funny is I was messing with this carb the first time. As I took a look at the floats, I was like, okay, they're all in unison. You know, should be fine. And then, guess I was wrong. So, the next test is to toss that airbox back on there and ride around, and we'll just see where it goes from there. Just for you guys at home, I actually got a spare engine sitting underneath that car starter right there, so I'm gonna see if I can barter that or sell that and put it back into the bike. I got rid of the side fairings. Some dude had an awesome Yamaha jacket, and even if I get rid of this thing, I just wanted this jacket so bad. And he was like, I just, said I'll trade you for the side fairings. He was down for it. Here's another Craigslist score for you guys at home. Not the nicest helmet in the world. Z1R. I forget the exact model of this thing. Uh, but for 20 bucks, and it fits my little head. And I really try to stay out of the camera. You guys at home can't tell. I'm actually not the tallest guy in the world here. I'm about 5'7", 5'8", something like that. So I have a hard time with helmets. Because I get a medium, and it shakes around on my head like, like like a bobblehead, and then I get a small, and it just squeezes my delicate little ears. So, I end up just going with the small, but I'm really happy that I got a real mask. Excuse me, got a real helmet, because I'll tell you what I was riding around with was those safety goggles right there, which doubles my shooting goggles. They're not that bad. And then I had this half helmet German thing here. The problem was is I go down and borrow the bike for demonstration purposes, and my face is going to get torn to smithereens. Not on the bike, but on the road or whatever's going on. So that was a Craigslist deal right there from a really cool dude in Culver City. And shout out if he's actually watching this, but thanks again for the helmet. That was an awesome deal. So it's definitely better. I'm exhausted. I'm just having a long time. I'm doing a lot of studying these days, so I'm just like really not having time for the bike. I know there's a couple people that are emailing me and they're like, hey, where's the videos and this kind of stuff, and I'll try to keep up with it. So, getting back to it here, the airbox is probably gonna go on tomorrow, and gonna play with it, make sure she doesn't stall out. Like I said, the real test was a high RPM, doing 40, 50 miles an hour. When I say high RPM, obviously I don't mean redlining it. And then I get to that stoplight and I sit there for a minute, and then she craps out, which is just breaking my heart, just nerve-wracking. But hopefully this should fix it here, because I'm not getting any moisture or anything like that. I mean, just tiny bit of gasoline there, but as opposed to it, floating out the dang airbox. So it was a big difference in those floats. See my other video for the detail of that, but I want to say it was about a quarter of an inch, US inch quarter of difference from where the floats should have been. I just ended up using a piece of brass that I had scored at the proper height, and I just used, once again, if you're working on cars, if you're a locksmith, I really don't care what you do, but if you have a garage, if you have a crescent wrench set, you want one of these, a caliper. I cannot state how many times one of these things has solved a problem, tremendously helped out on a job, or just, you know, referenced something, or been an emergency, whatchamacallit, ruler, just, these things are so amazing. This is a real high-end Japanese one. You know, don't pay more than 20 bucks for it. They're out there. They're cheap for 20 bucks. And, you know, for the average garage, you don't need one that, you know, goes down to 0.00, you know, 1 inches in increments, but it's nice to have. But for 20 bucks, they just save you. And, you know, I've had 2 of them. I used to be a machinist a long time ago. They're just amazing gizmos. I'm disappointed because the Speedo somehow stopped working. I don't know if that was the cable or whatever. Still want to get that tack working. So as far as next up for the projects here, we're going to put that airbox back on, ride around on it, see if she floods out, anything weird like that. Hopefully we're going to be good. Still chasing them rear fairings. Still looking around. This is a passive project, obviously, you know. Just working on a little bit of time in my spare time. Thinking about if I could find a good front fairing for, you know, cheap, or somebody wants to barter me for it or something. There's got to be something out there somebody wants to trade for. So, airbox back on. Test that out. That's good. Speedo's going to get working again. I'm a little nervous when I'm riding this thing around that I'm not breaking the speed limit, you know. I drive real slow, but I don't want to drive slow enough to piss people off, and I don't want to drive fast enough to warrant being pulled over, you know. That's about it. Try to get that instrument panel working. I'm not getting any overheating. I flushed out the radiator good. It is such a delicate dance with that idle. You know, there's some moments it's way too high, and there's some moments it's not high enough. We're just talking about a quarter of a turn on that little doohickey there. If anybody's watching this at home, I've got a ton of Yamaha FZR parts, and you know, send me an email out there. You know, I got tons of stuff. Let me know if you got something you want to trade. I am definitely looking for rear fairings. I am definitely looking for the little latch lock to keep the seat going if it's in shape. I don't care if you have the key or not. I'm a locksmith. That's my specialty. Don't trip out if you don't have it. Front fairings, you know, not looking for side fairings. I got rid of them for a reason. Not interested in them. Thank you anyway. Let's see, the rear whatchamacallit reservoir, the rear coolant reservoir. That's about it. There should be some kind of cowling or something back here too, some kind of plastic. So yeah, you know, you guys at home want something, feel free to shoot me an email. You know, I'm the king of bartering. I love to do that. I love to barter tools. I love to barter all kinds of stuff. You know, I love it. You know, I just got a jacket I loved. I might do a 30-second video on that one because I just think it's such a cool jacket. And that's about it for now, YouTube. Thanks to everybody who's just kind of paying attention to me. I just love how much attention I get with this project, and you know, everybody's like, hey, where's the next video? And it keeps me motivated to keep working on this. Because, man, oh man, you know, it's like everything else. Sometimes I just get tired of working on it, and I just want something that runs. And, well, I like working on stuff. Alright, that's it for now, YouTube.